Hello, hello. Ooh, let's get it a little quieter. Nice. Well, let's get cracking. Happy New Year, everybody. I am online. All right. So, this is the first stream of the year. Hello. If you are new here, my name is Juan, which is why I am also Juan. And yeah, this is just my new project. My goal is to do 50 episodes this year, so this is one of 50. Welcome to episode 1. I figured let's talk about firsts. It's first episode of the year, first month. Um, let's see. Let's just dive right into it and get doodling. Welcome to my brain, where it's a little chaotic. um, so let's see. The first I can think of to do. Let's see. I thought let's people might wanna know. Let's see. First kissed. First tattoo. My first job. And my first. We'll start with those three. If you have any suggestions, please leave those in the chat. I've got a list, but it might be kind of lame. So, if we are talking about firsts, gosh, I feel a little silly. I let's my first kiss. You really get to know me. My first kiss was I was in she was junior year after the summer after junior year, so I was about like 16, and I I was chatting as you do in the early 2010s online with others on a website which was known as my yearbook, but then got changed to Meet Me. I wasn't even cool enough for MySpace. This is where I was, and I ended up chatting with someone and meeting them at a local like youth party for the gays. And yeah, we dated over the summer, and he was my first kiss in his in his basement bedroom on his bed. Like it just happened while we were getting to know each other. And I don't think I'll ever be able to forget that because I don't know, you don't really forget someone, you know, actively taking an interest in you for the first time, you know? Yeah. Yep, this was the atmosphere. So imagine oh, I don't like that. Imagine a basement, right? We all know what a basement is. But imagine that nobody knows where you are because I really wasn't so social. And we were the same age, so it wasn't anything shifty, but the situation wasn't so romantic, I will say, that I remember for the romance. I kind of just remember because it was like, oh my god, someone liked me. So, oh gosh, and then I don't know if we all want details, but he was a musician. He had a keyboard right here. There was a keyboard right next to his bed. I thought he was so cool. But yeah, that was the location of my first kiss. It's in a basement. um, let's see. My first tattoo was in college. I met a friend of the boy I was dating in my class, actually. It was really interesting. I just knowing this person in class and realizing that they had known my boyfriend was like, oh wow, that's cool, a cool connection. And I don't, I remember we were sitting kind of at a table at the end of the class, and she was talking about how she was an apprentice, and I was like, oh well, that's really rad. And I found out she knew who my boyfriend was, and we got to talking, and I was like, hey, I feel comfortable with getting a tattoo from you. So my first tattoo is, let me actually try and draw it out for you guys. It is on my right arm, because that's, of course, where else would you get your first tat? And it is I wanted it to be weird, so we collabed. I wanted it to be cool. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a skull, because hell yeah. So this is my best off the cuff kind of drawing. It is a skull of a unicorn, right? Are you tracking? A unicorn skull. And I was like, let's make it extra edgy. And I've got. This is actually a pretty good illustration of my actual tattoo. So it's got something like this. Was my first tattoo. Hello, hello. It is, yeah, pretty much all she wrote. Of course, it's just a gray, black and gray type of tattoo. I didn't get color yet. I was not so sure that it would work out. But now I am at, I want to say 6.5 tattoos. But I got to get more. With that being said, I definitely think I'm definitely sure, 100% confident that I want to translate some of my art skills into the tattooing world. I would love to start tattooing. So I've set a little goal for myself. I'm going to try to raise money to get a tattoo gun this year. So anything that I'm working towards right now is to get a tattoo gun. So let's see. And I'm sure my art is going to be a lot better than this on someone's skin. Please take my word for it. So my first job. Oh, wow. First job was senior year of high school. I was 17. I I don't know, my mom drove me around, and just we kept going to places, that fast food places, and we tried every single one. And then it was literally like the end of the night. We had been doing it all day. And hello, hello in chat. First time viewer. That's a weenie. Who said that? Um my first boyfriend. Oh, I might go back to that one. Um, but my first job, it was the end of the night, and I just walked into a Wendy's, and I walked up to the counter. I was like, "Hey, like I'm trying to do this thing," and the manager was there at the time, so he handed me the application. He's like, "All right, let's get you in," and I was pretty much hired on the spot. But it not gonna really take that to the bank because it was a Wendy's. And yeah, I made so much money that summer. Your first job, you don't really realize that they're like working you to the bone, but I was just like so happy to be a part of something that I was like, yes, I'll work harder. Yes. Oh my gosh. And the funny thing is that when I would do window, across the street was a McDonald's, and I shit you not. I have accidentally said hello, welcome to McDonald's while in that window. And I definitely confused a couple customers. And the worst part is when you accidentally say something like that and then they try to be funny with you. They're like, "Oh, well then can I get a McNugget?" And I'm like, "Well, we don't have those here." And then they get sassy. And I'll get sassy right back. um let's see. Let's see. What else could I think of? My first drink. My first drink was actually a wine cooler, which is super fun. Um, so I was probably 19 or 20 at the time, which is not. I'm not here to endorse anything. I was 19 or 20, and I was living with a friend, and her mom was going to be out of town for the weekend, so she was like, you're adults, like, go ahead and try a wine cooler while I'm gone, try to have fun. And I remember I had like one, maybe one and a half, and I was like, this is not it. This is not for me. It was something white. I couldn't even tell you what flavor it was. It was just something white and probably named something like America Berry. Like, but then my first drink in a bar was actually after I had just turned 21. There is this little place back in my hometown. I can't even remember what my first drink was legally, but like I remember where it was. I was at this bar. It is called Lux, and it is the craziest bar that I've ever been to. And I would totally go back if I'm back in town sometime. But it is one of the weirdest places. It's got like baby heads, baby dolls, like art, weird stuff, like just plastered on the walls. Like they have local art. They've got crazy like spooky art, and you just don't really expect the coolest things to happen there, but they do. um, Gosh, oh, the person who bought me my first drink was one of just one of the best people in the world. Um, they are someone I met in college, in my art class. My friend Marlena. Love them to death. I'm trying to think. How else can I describe Lux besides crazy? So, let's see. My first. My first child. Let's confuse the people. My first child is actually not a human. My first child is my cat. I literally don't know where I'd be without this cat. Hold on, let me do. I gotta do him justice. This is my pride and joy. So when I was 20, I was pretty much living on my own, chilling it up, and a friend of mine was like, "Yo, like I know you've been looking for a cat. There's this whole basket of them, like up for grabs. Like, do you want to get a cat?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm an adult. I can take myself seriously." And so at first I was like, "Oh, I want the spooky looking one." I thought it was going to be like a black cat or a gray cat. And they were like, "Well, we're going to keep the girls together, whatever. So I'll take the one cat. I only want one cat." And it was a little boy. He was the feistiest one, and it ended up being an orange cat, which makes him extra feisty. And his original name was like something like Tigger or something, and I was like, that's not gonna work. This cat doesn't look like a Tigger. This cat looks like a little beast. And he wasn't very orange when I got him. He was like sandy colored. So I was very adamant. I was like, this is not a tiger cat. This is a lion cat. So he is my little Leo. And he is currently curled up on the corner of my bed, taking a little nap. Welcome, welcome. Yes, Leo very much has dog energy. If anybody knows my cat, he is a cat that will play fetch. He won't bark, but he will scream for attention. Like if something's going on, he will scream at you. Hello, hello, Sub-Zero the Ninja. Oh my gosh, yes. So his full name, I feel like I have to let you know that I'm not it's not just Leo the cat, okay? This man's full name, because my friend who was holding him uh, named him Carrot because he was a little pale boy. So I made that his middle name. His name is Leo Carrot. You can never forget. He was besties with AD. That's where he got his dog traits from, and that's where AD got his cat traits from. So let's see. I gotta do my baby justice. Let's make him. Does he look mischievous yet? You can already tell. Orange cats are always the craziest. And he has these huge Sailor Moon eyes. Like literally, he is 7 years old. So I've had him for since I was 20, and he still just looks like a little baby kitten every time he looks at me with those giant eyes. And his little nose. I'll have to do a proper portrait of him at some point because he certainly deserves it. And I'll hang it above my mantle. But this is this MFer right here. And maybe I spent too much time staring at him, but he's got this cute little eyeliner that looks like this. Oh, it really do be looking like him. He's so cute. Yeah, I'm talking about you. You can tell. Okay. I think, let's see, what's next? First movie that I saw in movie theaters. I think this is just really funny. I remember I was probably like 9 or 8. I was like itty bitty. And my aunt Phyllis took me and my sister to see. I I think the name of the movie is called Mighty Joe Young. It was about a giant gorilla, but it wasn't King Kong. Okay, I distinctly remember the scene where there's like it's supposed to be heartbreaking. I don't know. Most animal movies are. And he's just like locked in a cage, and I just remember this scene, like you could tell the scale of the gorilla was because he was like locked in this cage, and his giant fingers. Oh, whoopsie. Let me get that. We're coming out of the gates, the holes in the cage. I just remember this part of the movie. What a weird part. I don't remember the rest of the movie at all. Did they save the gorilla? Somebody tell me. I literally just remember this part. That's pretty that's pretty phallic. You know what? I think we all knew I was a little fruity if this is the only part I remember from a childhood movie at 9 years old. I can't. I gotta stop drawing this. But yeah, I remember this. I don't think my sister remembers this at all. Um, I just, it was like super cool to go to a movie for the first time. It's like dark and scary, and you're like not so sure what's going on, but then there's entertainment at the same time. I know she's more like this for sure. Yeah, let's see. My first my first sleepover. My first sleepover was also when I was very young. It was in a little like neighborhood at the end of a cul-de-sac. I guess I don't know. Is it a cul-de-sac when it's a bunch of trailers? So I lived like over here. And down the road and over a little. It was just like a little neighborhood thing. Someone's birthday was happening, and we all slept outside in tents. And it was pretty neat. I remember distinctly that I was in the non-fun tent, because I wasn't best friends with the kid whose birthday it was. That's not to say I didn't have fun, but I just remember being in the one tent that was like the other kid in my tent was already like asleep, and I could see the silhouette of the other kids like hanging out in their tent, like having a blast, playing card games, probably Yu-Gi-Oh, while I had to call it a night. I was like, oh, that's cool. What other first can I think of? My first time. If you want to hear my first time doing a recreational herbs, I'm gonna have to save that for another time because it's a long story, wild story. My first. My first Pokemon. How about that? So I was always a fan of Pokemon, and I just never had the chance to like play them because I couldn't afford the games. Nobody was buying me the games. Technically, my first game was a bootleg that I got from a kid in high school. That was like the Japanese. It was like all in Japanese, and it was Pokemon Platinum. I understand absolutely zero of the context of what was going on. I don't know any of the story, but I remember I got stuck at this part because I didn't know Japanese. So in order to progress through the storyline, and I did make it pretty far in the game, in order to progress through the storyline, you had to like do something else, but I didn't know where to go to because I just didn't understand what was going on. But technically, that was my first game. But legitimately, 100% legitimately, I bought my first Pokemon game in college, and it was Pokemon X, and I was obsessed. Deer are kind of like my favorite animal, so when the box legendary was Xerneas, I was like, oh, I gotta have that. That one's mine. So my very first Pokemon I chose. Let's see if you can guess. See if I can draw it from memory, actually. That's the real question. I'm doing a great job. Yep. Yes. My first Pokemon was the Fire Starter, which will be evident as soon as you put the red in there. Obvious. Um, Fennekin. I chose the Fire Starter because I think the end result was cooler. I don't know. Everybody hates on Fennekin, but like, I I thought it was cool that it was like a mage. I can't even tell you what the eyes looked like. So it's got to be anime eyes. I'm just gonna go with what my heart says. It's anime eyes. And it had a little tail. With a stick in it. It had a little stick in its tail. Why wouldn't I choose the one that had a stick in its tail? Maybe I'm conflating it with the middle evolution, but the stick was a very important part. Let's see. And that one's the one I actually finished all the way through because I could understand it. It was pretty fun. I did not finish post game because, again, maybe it's just me. I got really confused when it came to post game. Like I got the legendary, and then you go to this like big old flower or crystal or something that's just there, and it's like, oh, the story will progress if you can figure out the rest of this. I don't know. I gave up on that. What about my first time? I don't know if it's super interesting, but the first time I ever traveled like out of the country and was like first time overseas. Like I had never been to anywhere close to America. No Canada, no Mexico, nothing like that. So the first time getting on a plane and traveling over the ocean, I got to visit my sister and her husband in Germany, where he was stationed at the time, and it was pretty decent. I don't know how I'm going to illustrate this. I think I can. Oh, my favorite part of Germany, because while we had the time, we just like traveled across countries because you can do that in Europe. They're like the size of states. Um, we like went all the way up, skirted past the Netherlands into Belgium, and just my favorite, absolute favorite thing is just how like gorgeous it is. Like you don't really expect it because you think that I don't know, you don't really expect what another country is going to look like, but it's pretty much like, oh, there are people here too. But like just rolling hills with itty bitty little houses. Just like jammed in there because it's a small country, so they have to fit as many people as they can. There's not like huge mega lawns or anything like that over there, which was pretty refreshing, I would say. Just so many little villages, and it just feels different in another country. Like the air feels different. This is a little. Nope, I'm not going to do that. This is a little road. I love how remedial this is. There's less existential dread mucking up the atmosphere. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. They're chill with what they've got. Like especially in Germany, they're like, yeah, we screwed up, but like we're doing stuff about it. Like when are you gonna start putting your money where your mouth is? Eh. Like sure, everybody looks to America for like innovation or entertainment or whatever, but like when it comes to reparations, you can start looking at other countries for that shit. Because like it starts with accountability. But yeah, imagine an actual fairy tale. Like, not to exaggerate, but like, there's a reason why fairy tales come from like Europe and Germany especially. Like, it's just so magical. not so sure I can articulate the magic in my silly little drawing, but I definitely want to get back overseas at some point. Once, the state of the world is on the same page. What other firsts? What other firsts do you guys want to see? Let me know. I think. What about my first? My first schooling degree, because I've got multiple. When I first decided to go to college, I knew from the get-go that I was going to be doing art. So, of course, I went for an art degree. That's where I met most of my friends. How to articulate that? Well, let's see. Imagine you graduate from high school. They hand you a little diploma that says, you did it. You graduated from 12th grade. And then you go uptown and you go to a building full of 13th graders. It just was the vibe. It's mostly probably because it was a community college and it was mostly locals. There was tons of out-of-state or out-of-country people because it was, I guess, one of the good community colleges, but still, the whole vibe was basically high school part 2. But my first degree, I did so much during my first year of college. I, moved out for the first time. I, got my own place. I was holding a job while going to school, while, trying to pay rent and all that stuff. Trying to make it work with a boy who was going to school out of state. I only saw him in the summers. Literally. This is not so quite as interesting to illustrate. Oh, I know what I want to illustrate. Okay, cryptic as F. I don't know if anybody... Let me tell you something. All the weirdos will find each other, okay? Point blank period. You cannot walk onto a campus and not expect to find your clique, okay? Unless you're only literally going from your car to class. If you hang out on the campus, you're going to find your clique. So, in the atrium, there was this... It's an atrium's just a big old room, right? And on the second floor, you could... There's the windows. And there was the stairs. Oh, so this is all from memory. So down here they would have official events and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, the bookstore was right here. You can enter the bookstore down here and up here. And on this side, imagine, if you will, a corner of the room. So this was the calf. And this little corner was set up to be a lounge area. And right outside of the library as well. So there's a bunch of little tables over here. And then they had this this path of non-carpet. And this is this hallway. So this area, the corner, TM, was where I did all of my socializing. And I literally met my two best friends there. I literally met the wackiest, weirdest artos there. And that would be how I would describe the essence of getting my first degree. It would just be absolutely bonkers. I am strapped for firsts. Well, I guess I could tell you one of my new firsts, something that has recently just happened to me. My first career. So, I have been I've known that I wanted to do art for like the longest time. I tried to do it in between working odd jobs, and I thought I was going to be a traditional artist. I thought I was going to draw. I thought I was going to paint. I thought I was going to do all this stuff, but it just didn't really stick. So I would say that this right now is the dawn, basically, of my new career. I saved all of the stimuluses that I got the last 2 years, and I basically splurged on an iPad. I'm drawing right now on my iPad 11-inch Pro, and I'm trying to do it. Like, I'm trying to like make something of it right now. So we're witnessing the history happening right now in me starting my very first career, becoming a digital artist. So thank you for participating in that. It means the world to have, any support, because you really spend a lot of your time doubting whether or not it's viable and whether or not it's like even possible to do. And it really, if I didn't have people who literally like reminded me every day, like, what about that thing you were going to do? Like, I probably would have just forgotten about it. I would have thrown my dream in the dirt. A Yes, thank you specifically, Sashimi. Thank you specifically. Let's get this. So what I am trying to illustrate is a screen. And you know what? You gotta remind yourself that you can do it. You can do whatever you really, really want to. The only thing stopping you is how are you going to do it? Let's see. This is funny considering I am not on camera right now and I'm trying to draw myself on camera. But aside from just streaming on Twitch, I'm trying to upload things on TikTok, trying to get some audience views. I will be uploading this to YouTube probably after I'm done, probably in a speed paint type of way, just to sort of like more audience capture and stuff like that. I might start a podcast. I've been thinking about starting like a actual webcam audio format so that I can just chit chat and not focus on drawing or something like that. Um, but those are just little ideas, and all of this is to push forward towards a career as a tattoo artist. I know for a fact that my illustrations are what I love to do. I love to illustrate things. So if I could provide illustrations on someone's skin, which I have technically done, I have been commissioned to do a tattoo, but I've never been the one to do the tattoo. It would just be a dream to like put my art on living canvases, you know? Have them walk around and be proud of the art that I can provide. So let's see. This is what does the Twitch logo look like? It looks like a little head. So yeah, if you want to see all the little tiny things I'm doing, I'm really trying to spread myself out. I am over on YouTube at WeirdWohn as well. And you're here right now on Twitch, WeirdWohn. And then my TikTok is not so much meant for work, it's kind of personal. It is and I'll probably just be doing silly things and posting about my life on TikTok. And I also will do try and post to an Instagram specifically meant for this Twitch channel. Is come on, branding. It's weird. Weird One's World with a U. And I like your enthusiasm. I like your enthusiasm. We'll see about that last one. And if anything, it would not be anything advertised on here. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't want to mix my worlds. But yeah, I mean, I've ran out of first to tell you guys. So I hope that this was entertaining. Thank you for joining me today. I might get into some long form content, streaming like of self portraits I'm doing, any commissions I would be doing, and yeah, I would do some long form content. I gotta think of what people want to see and stuff, and what I want to do. Because honestly, this is all fun, and if it stops being fun, I probably wouldn't be doing it. But yeah, that was any firsts. Thank you all for this little short little stream. I couldn't be more grateful. I Can't wait to do more episodes. If you have any suggestions, always feel free to leave them. Message me on the Instagram. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you for joining me.